Hi everyone! Today, we will be going over all of the X2QS script conditions. Now, in my last tutorial, well, technically 2 tutorials ago, I went over the X2QS script actions. Pretty much what these are just literally the foundation of your mission. With these, you literally control everything. You control characters that transform, you can make the KO counter show up, disable, enable items. Literally starting the mission. X2QS script actions are very, very important in designing a mission. Now, something else just as important are X2QS script conditions. Now, these are things that will activate a certain line of text, right? So if you have a... Alright, it's really hard to explain, but... Alright, so if you have a line of code, right, with a bunch of X2QS script actions... Actually, I'll just open the list right here. Alright, so... Maybe you have, like a line of code that has, you want to play a certain song, you want to enable items and have a character transform, and then maybe play some dialogue. You need a condition to activate the true for that line of code to actually activate in the quest. And now these conditions, obviously, dictate whether or not the thing will activate, and these conditions are requirements that will activate that line of code, right? It's very complicated to explain, but as soon as you start making missions, it becomes a lot easier to understand, right? But pretty much today, we'll be going over all the X2QS conditions, and pretty much the ones I recommend you guys use in your missions, because there's some here that you will never fucking use in your entire life, and then there's some that you will use every single time, such as check flag, KO, is defeated, one map, all that. So, this page is found on the animegamemods.net /thread 3084 list of X2QS script conditions by Eternity, obviously. This list I've used over 1,000 times. Okay, maybe not 1,000 times, but I've used this list a lot more times than you're probably thinking. This is such an awesome list. One of my favorite things are the notes, right? It goes over all the extra trivial facts on each and every one of the conditions. I really recommend checking this out. You're pretty much going to need this if you're making a mission, unless you just flat out just replace the mission you're making with new characters. But literally, with custom conditions and custom actions, you can do some insane shit with missions. Alright, to be completely frank, like, the amount of things you can do with conditions and actions, like if you bundle them together in a certain way, you can do some insane stuff. I know, for example, a good example of this is, I think Metaskinetis, they actually managed to make a custom video play inside of a mission, which is just insane. That's thanks to demo load, demo play completed, all that stuff, right? You can do some insane stuff too, like have text boxes appear. It's a bunch of crazy stuff, but all culminated together into one giant package can really provide for an entertaining experience. So it's really good if you're making missions to know everything about conditions and actions. It'll take time, but you'll eventually get it down flat. And when you do, let me tell you, it can be boatloads of fun, right? I remember making a couple missions, right? And then you just have all these ideas you can throw into fruition thanks to conditions and actions. These things are insane. They're the most valuable part of a mission, in my opinion, the actions and conditions. The amount of shit you can do is crazy. Now, enough of that, we are going to actually go into going over the conditions. Alright, so, we're going to start from up here. Note that although this list shows the underlying .QED opcode number, QED is the quest event data. This is how we used to... This was a part in making custom missions before X2Ms, pretty much. You don't need to worry about QED. It pretty much showed where in the .qxd file where it would locate the character you want to bring into the mission. Bunch of stuff like that. The opcode number is not needed in the X2QS language, as you will only use the condition action / name. Yeah, opcode 2, opcode 3. Opcodes are, yeah, for the QED, you don't need to worry about it. Also, unless you really want to make missions the old way. You can't even replace any. I mean, you can't actually add any new ones if you do that. Also note, although generally this list could be used as QED documentation, the X2QS language internally changes a few things. For example, it applies reverse Boolean logic in a couple of cases where 0 is true and 1 is false. Of course, the compiler will write things as the game expects them once it creates the QED file when writing the quest. You don't need to be aware of the internal details. This warning is only for those that want to use this full list as the QED documentation. Yeah, we don't need to worry about this, but it's good to read anyway, just in case. By the way, guys, all the links will be in the description, right? Alright, so this is a conditions list. We have the actions up here. Trust me, you guys want to study this if you're making mission. You want to study this. It's your homework. It's your homework tonight. Study this entire thing and memorize everything in here. Alright, so condition opcode 0, never. I never use this one. I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry. But literally, this condition always evaluates the false, so any action this event may have will never be executed. The game seems to use this in some negative event. They are probably events that were dummied by devs on purpose or by their tools. Pretty much just placeholders. Always, 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 and always. Opcode 1, 29, 31, and 39. Condition always. These three are never used, right? Always is something you will see. If you make a custom mission, you will see always all the time. You will always see this. I have never seen these ever before. Always underscore twice and 3. I've never seen this. I actually want to see what this says. Strictly speaking, the real always is always. The others are likely debug conditions that were dummied in the release version of the EXE. To avoid any potential problem with future game updates, use the opcode always and forget about the other 3. Yeah, as I was saying, you will never see these. Don't bother. Like, if you're making a mission, never use these. And I think you can use them, but it's not worth it, right? No. It is cool that they're there. Maybe you guys can test it. I've never used these. Always, right? I'm on fire today. I mean, yeah, just use always. Just always use that. Alright, UNC2, I don't know what the hell UNC2 is. UNC means unknown internally, right? Opcode 2. Stage, I have no idea what. They're UNC for a reason, right? We don't know what they mean. There's actually a couple X2QS actions that we do know what they do, right? For example, unknown 64, right here. The QML character object engine shooter with an unknown purpose. This controls the facial expressions when a character uses the chara spawn command. You put this right before a character spawns in, and if you put, say you're fighting a Super Vegito, or just a Vegito, base Vegito enemy, what you would do is, right before the chara spawn command for Vegito, you would go into here, and then you type in Vegito enemy, and if you put integer 17, it'll make him so he's smiling when he flies in. The UNC 64 is facial expressions, right? There's another one as well that's for dialogue. I forget which number it is, though. But yeah, some of these are known, but most of them aren't. Alright. Condition KO. This one is used a lot. I haven't used this. This one is used a lot, I think, in the base quest. I've never really used KO. As I will usually use on stage, always, health integers, which is one of my favorite ones. KO's really never used that much, but you can use it. I use it in some missions, but I really don't recall it being that important. If you're going to use a condition, I always recommend using a health condition. Because KO I always found to be funky, but it usually does work the way it's intended. I just never find a place to use it because of the way my missions are designed, right? Alright, so time within state. This is always used when a mission starts, pretty much. What happens is it activates the action init quest, which is initiate quest, is all at the top here. It internally initiates the quest. Usually you put this at the very beginning of the script. After this, it says, okay, so what happens is when you start the quest, it'll go activate this, and then it'll send you to state 0, which has condition, where is it? A time within state 0, right? And then it'll start the mission, right? It'll start and then go to state 1. Time within state, you never really need to use this unless you desperately need a command active. So, imagine case in point, you're making a mission and you're having a lot of trouble getting a command to activate. What you do is you use the go to state command, right? Yeah, you go to state. I don't know why there's no here, but you type in action, go to state, maybe 7. You make state 7. Use time within state 0. You activate a command, then go back to state 5, which you probably were originally in. If you really need a command to activate, I usually never use time within state as it's only called at the beginning of the mission, but if you really wanted to use it, go right ahead. It's right there for you to use at your leisure. I personally never use it. Is demo load completed? This is for cutscenes. I will probably make a tutorial on how to make cutscenes in the future. I know I think Metaskinetis, actually. I think that person actually made a tutorial on how to add cutscenes into your quest. It's on the XV2 Citadel Discord server. I have a link in the description, I'm pretty sure. Don't fault me, I might have forgot to put it there because my memory's not the greatest, but I most likely did, so you guys can check that out. There'll be a quest tutorial section, and then you scroll up a bit, and you'll find the demo of how to put cutscenes in missions. If it's not there, I will eventually make a tutorial on it. It's just very complicated. Cutscenes are very insane. But is demo load completed is used pretty much when you go to the X2QS script actions and then you use the play demo command. It'll play demo whatever one you want, A100. It'll play that demo, and then in the same state, it'll go to is demo load completed, and then you'll have to use a bunch of other commands to get the demo to play by using play demo, right? Oh, it actually you use load demo. And then after the demo loads, is demo load completed. If it's in the same state, what will happen is it'll trigger another command, which will send you to a different state. That'll use the play demo command, and then when that's done, it'll use demo play ended. This is how you get back into the game after playing a cutscene. It's very confusing to explain, but is demo load completed, demo play ended are very essential for putting cutscenes in your missions, so keep that in mind, everyone. Fade completed. This I've never used this before. I've never used this. Don't bother with it. It happens when you use the fade in and out command, which is right here. Don't bother. That's very confusing. Because in Parallel Quest, this is reversed. Okay, so in fade in and out, what happens is... Where is it? Fade mode, 1, white or black, keep UI. Alright, so you're right here. Keep UI Boolean. If it's false... Okay, in Parallel Quest, this is reversed. So, if you keep UI false, which would normally disable the HUD, it would actually put it there. It's weird. It's reversed. Don't bother with this. Don't bother with this in Parallel Quest. Okay. Timepass. This is used pretty much after, obviously, a certain amount of time passes. This is obviously used in the float section in seconds. So if you want 5 minutes as the timepass command, you type in 300.0. Obviously, float would mean .0 at the end of your command, so keep that in mind. I've really never used Timepass. I use it in some missions. Can I recall a certain mission that I've used it? I know I used it in the Ultimate Crystal Raid. I do remember using it in there, but I don't know. This is usually used in Parallel Quest in-game to judge whether you get the ultimate finish or not by setting flag 63 to true. Fun fact, in every vanilla Parallel Quest, flag 63 is the ultimate finish, and you can go into the code, and then if you can find script 1, you can find where it's set to false, and you can change it to true to guarantee the ultimate finish if you wanted to do that. Fun fact. But Timepass is used if you want to do a time segment. You could just spam the wait command as well. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can use this. It gets confusing with Timepass, though. It's very good, though, if you know exactly where to use it. I use it in some of my Ultimate Missions Universe Trilogy missions, but usually, I usually don't bother with this one. Oh boy, this is one that I use like a freaking metric fuck ton of times. I use the health command condition so many times. This is how you could trigger dialogue sequences in your missions to activate, right? So you go to the play dialogue, wherever the hell it is. It's somewhere. But what happens is you type in condition health and then conditional operator only. This is greater than and less than, right? This is greater than, that's less than. So, say you want to have greater than 50% HP, you type in back. What's that symbol? I don't remember. Equal sign, and then you type in a comma, the character, and then the percent of total health, which is float. Then you type in like 50%, right? Which would be 50.0. And then after a character is over 50% HP or under 50% HP with this command, a certain line of code would activate. This is how you would get like characters to play dialogue after a certain amount of HP. This is how health caps are used in missions to prevent you from one-shotting enemies at times. Sorry about that jump cut, guys. My microphone shut off for some reason. But I was talking about the health command, right? I have used this command so many times. This will be something you want to use when trying to pretty much have something happen with a certain character. Say you want a character to heal when they get under 20% HP. You type in condition health. The operator would be less than 20, right? You do less than I don't know, Vegito enemy 20.0, and then at under 20% HP, you could type in a huge line of code to activate. You can make them heal, you can change their AI table, you can do so many different things. It's crazy. Listen, if you're making missions, you want to use the health one. This one is a lot of fun, and it can extend the life cycle of a mission by literally hours if you wanted to make the mission longer using the health command. It's insane. I love this one. I don't know what this is. I don't know why this is here. Why is UNC 10 and 13 here, but not 11 and 12 in here? I don't know. In stage, I use this one a lot too. This one is, I can recall using this exact one inside of Advent of the Omnipotent Warrior, UMXT 11, and then UMXT 7, which is some of the strongest. I use this one. I've used the in-stage command a shit ton, because it literally guarantees, because some of these are funky and fucked, where sometimes they won't activate. It's very weird. I've been making quests for a long time, and some of these just don't fucking activate. For example, the KO one is very funky. I don't know why, it doesn't activate half of it. It doesn't activate when you want it to, even though if it's in the correct state. It usually works, but I swear to God this one is so glitched. Wow, this one always works. If you want... So what you would do is obviously in stage. It specifies where the character's fighting. It checks if it evaluates to true, you're on that stage. This command will activate a huge line of string of code. I have used this one to make missions extended, like some of the strongest. This uses the in-stage command when you transfer to the time rift to fight Gogeta Blue. It uses the in-stage command to evaluate that. And if this command didn't exist, that part of the mission wouldn't exist. I love this because it always activates. You can use the change stage command to get this to work, and you can extend your mission in crazy ways. You can literally go to unplayable stages with this. It's insane. You want to use this one. In stage is a great one. The way it works is, alright, so say you only do this if on you make sure the character to check is player. You don't want to use this on a ally or whatever. You can, but it's glitchy. At least I would assume. I've never used this on anyone but player, but this always works if you use it on yourself. Say you wanted to check to see if you're fighting on Planet Namek base form, or the non-destroyed version. You go player, stage, BF, NMC, which is Namek, in quote, and then Boolean with an unknown purpose. If this parameter is true, the game does an additional unknown check. Don't worry about this. You can set this to false and it will still work. It doesn't actually check parameter 3 for some reason. It's a glitch. I don't know why it doesn't check the Boolean, because usually true and false will work, but it doesn't work at this. You can set this to false and it'll still check and see if you're fighting. But really, if you guys want to do some crazy stuff, like for example, what you could do is you can do after maybe, like say you're fighting a Vegito Blue on the future stage, right, on the Future in Ruins, maybe after you knock him under 50% HP, you can use the change stage command to change over to, I don't know, Destroyed Planet Namek or something, which, because Future in Ruins doesn't have a portal gate to Planet Namek, so you can't get there normally, Destroyed Planet Namek. So what you can do is change stage, it'll change the stage automatically, and then when you're on the stage, BFNMB, Destroy Planet Namek, it'll check this command and it'll guarantee to activate, and you can do some funky ass shit. Trust me, you want to use this one. Okay, this one. This is very complicated, but it has a... let's put this in a nutshell, this looks confusing. It has a certain percentage chance of activating. So, this is a flag that will only activate under on a random percent smaller than X. X being the percent chance you want. It compares a random number... Okay, so let's look at the description. It compares a random number between 0 to 99 with a specified number. If the random number is smaller than the specified number, the condition will evaluate to true. Integer 1, parameter 1. The integer to compare the random number to a value is greater than equals 100. Will make the a condition equivalent to always. A value less than -1 will make the condition equivalent to never. The random number used by this function is pre-generated for the current script state. What does that mean? That means if multiple events in the same state use this condition, all of them will be checking the same random number. Interesting. But pretty much, God, if you still don't understand what I'm trying to say, this will activate on random chance. You can choose the percent chance you want this to activate. This has a 25% chance of activating, right? So state 5, it enters state 5, and then it plays all the commands as normal. So this one right here will have a random chance of activating. It will have a 25% chance of sending this line of code to be true. So maybe if you want like a secret text box to appear, maybe like say this, right? Alright, so you want a 1% chance of a secret text box appearing. What you would do is you would enter the state and then condition random percent smaller than 1. This will make it so there is a 1% chance of this line of code activating. So what you could do after that 1% chance, if that so man, I have a lot of energy right now. Alright, so if that evaluates to true, what will happen is, the 1% chance, if it evaluates to true, it'll activate that line of code. Then you can use the show tip command, which will activate the text box in the top right corner, and you can like put a secret message there, right? It'll have a 1% chance of appearing. That's pretty much what it is, right? This has an 80%, this has a 100%. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. It's very confusing trying to explain this, but hopefully I did a good job with that. Okay, I don't know what the hell this is. I was like, why not just use health command? The health command does this exact same fucking thing. This is worthless. Never use this. Why is this a thing? Like, what is this? Okay, for real, don't use this. Just, I have never seen these two get used. You are unwanted. Why are you here? Like, don't ever use them. Just use this. Use health, damn it. What the hell is the point of these? Clear screen close. Wow, that's a thing? Oh, okay, so you can probably get some secret shit to activate with this. I've never used this. You never will use this in normal quest development. Even vanilla quest don't use it. I don't know what that's for. It probably appears in some story mission I'm not aware of. But you really don't need to worry about this. Don't do this one. Okay, check flag. Dude, this one is so complicated to explain. But this will pretty much only activate if a certain flag using the set flag command is set to true. Alright. Is it here? How to use go Control F, Control F, Control F, Control F. Yeah, Control F. Set. Okay. Okay, this is good. Alright, so let's just read this. Alright, description. It sets the Boolean value of a flag variable. Param 1, the flag variable. Param 2, the value to set. Flag Vegeta was killed. This declares the variable. They must be declared before the first script. They become available all scripts, not only the first. So what happens is with set flag is at the top of script.x2QS there will be a huge list of flags, and then in there will be like flag 30, right? So what would happen is they all start at false. You have to turn them to true manually, and when they get set to true, this condition will be there, and if it's set to true, what will happen is that line of code will activate. Think of it like random percent smaller than, but it guarantees to activate as soon as you set the flag to true. You put the flag at the top of script.x2QS, and then if you use condition check flag true, or like flag 20 true, after you use the set flag command to set flag 20 to true, this will activate as long as you're in the same state. And what will happen is that line of code will activate, right? Hopefully that made sense. It's so hard to explain the flag commands, but hopefully it made sense. Oh, but this will only activate if the flag's true. They all start false. You use action set flag to set check flag to true, right? So if you want flag 20 to be checked to true, what you would do is you put the check flag 20 command to check to true, and then you set flag 20 to true, and then if it checks to true, what happens is it'll go through that line of code. Hopefully that makes sense. Player race is, this is just used for like custom dialogue. I mean, I guess that's cool, but this can be glitchy with roster characters. I really don't recommend using it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like player race is male, it'll like do a certain thing, right? Yeah. When possible, I'll use this only when you expect the character to be a CAC, because let's look at the notes section here. Surprisingly, the function works with the roster characters, e.g. player race is saying male will return true for Goku. However, two things about this. Some vanilla characters like Zarbon return Saiyan and Champa return human. Two, we don't know where the game stores the info for race sex of roster characters, so it's unlikely that it would work properly for modded characters. Don't use this unless you expect your character to be a CAC, yes. Very good very good choice of word eternity, my boy. Number of human players. This one's really cool, as this could be used for X missions or to make a mission harder depending on how many human players are in the mission. Usually you won't have friends in X2M missions, but you never know. if you want to make it so, like, the mission is 5 times harder if you have 2 people, go right ahead. Use skill. If a certain skill is used, I have never used this one. Like, hit with skill, use skill. This is mainly used for teacher quests. Don't pay attention to these. Condition dialogue finish is a really good way to prevent missions from being completed too fast, especially if there's a lot of dialogue, right? This is used to ensure that all the dialogue plays, and it'll stall the mission until that happens, as long as there's health caps. Dialogue finish, it's very complicated to explain, but if you look at some vanilla parallel quests, they all use the dialogue finish command. It's really good, right? Number of characters defeated is exactly what it sounds like. If you make it so the number of characters to check for greater than will evaluate the true team, enemy team, player team. So what this is, maybe it would be like if you, after 3 enemies on the enemy team are defeated, a certain thing activates, right? Or maybe if one player on the player team gets KO'd, this X activates, right? Like, that's the way it would work. It's really cool as you can do some really funky stuff, especially like in quests like Summative Distortions, which is a 99 enemy endurance rush of hell. This command can do some insane shit. If you're making a mission with a bunch of enemies, you want to use this. If it's one enemy, I don't think so. This is glitchy. It'll equilibrate the true whenever a character's fighting. These 2, I don't recommend checking. Well, this one, I don't recommend. This one, I've never used. These 2, honestly, these 3, hell, 4, 5, 6. Like, a lot of these I have never used before. You would never use these if you, like, if you're making just normal mission, you'll never use it. Condition removed is fucked. It doesn't work properly. I don't know why. I've used this one before. This one is a piece of shit. It doesn't work half the time. Condition bed play completed. I have no idea how to make battle events. I know, like, they're cool, but, like, they're only using story mode, right? It's like, I know Aturalu is really familiar with battle events, but I don't know. It's like, battle events? Like, yeah, whatever. Or I like to call them Walmart cutscene. I've never used this. I'm not familiar with this one. But if you're really familiar with battle events, go right ahead. But, like, there's little known about it. Like I said, Aturalu in the Citadel server knows a lot about that if you wanted to know about battle events. He actually made a tutorial on how to make one, but it's like, I don't know. It's not that cool. If I start with character, I have no idea what this is. I mean, player started a fight against this character. That means if you locked onto a certain character. I've never used this one, actually. I might honestly start using this one. I don't know. This one looks really cool. This will obviously activate if you lock onto a certain enemy. What is this? Like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. Oh! Oh, this is, like, stuff you see on the scouter. Yeah, okay, I meant, does anyone even do... Like, the items you get are shit. Like, no one uses it. Right? It's dog... It's literally donkey shit. Like, why would you ever use it? I don't know. Carries Dragon Balls. No one likes Dragon Ball missions. I've never used it. Battle event's my favorite thing in the game. Event done. On what? Oh, okay. I've never used this one. That's actually really cool. Oh, I've seen this one done in Parallel Quest, and some of the Parallel Quest vanilla ones. I've never used this one. It's very weird how the number works, but it is... Wow, this could actually be really cool. I might start using this one. So the way this would work is... Oh, the script index. This is 0 for your first script. Actually, it just looks confusing. I don't know. I don't recommend... Forget what I said. Don't use it. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Okay. Is quest finished? Quest. I've never seen quest. These functions program the opposite actions. Quest unfinished. The opposite. Oh, okay. So this will activate if you haven't completed the mission. Okay. Oh, so you can make it so you can only play the mission once or something like that. Okay, that's pretty cool. So what you could do, for example, is if you're like a demon from hell, what you could do is before the mission activates, you can literally put the entire You can make the entire mission activate on a flag, and then if the mission's not completed, what you can do is you can make the flag set to true, but if it's completed, you can set it to false, and you cannot play the mission after you beat it. Oh, only demons would do that. Time and demo. Okay, that's interesting. I've never seen this command. I guess that could be really cool. Maybe it like shuts down a demo for glitches or something. I've never used this. Don't really bother with it. Don't bother with it. Please don't bother with. What the hell is the point of this? Why would you not? Why wouldn't you just use the time command? Like, Timepass. Why won't you use just Timepass? Timepass is way better than that stupid command. You're literally a wannabe. Get out of here. Why would yeah, that's cool, but just use the health command. A lot of these literally are great value versions of the other commands. Don't bother with these. Like, a lot of these are here to confuse you, right? Like, half of these missions half of these X2QS actions I've never used. Don't bother with these. Don't. Just use Timepass, use health. Don't bother with these. Detective with Scout. Oh, that's cool. Okay, Detective with Scouter. You can make it so you get a you get a huge stat boost if you. Okay, so what would happen is if you lock onto an enemy with a Scouter. So maybe you're fighting a Vegito. If you use the Scouter on that Vegito, left on the D-pad, what you would do is you left on the D-pad and you look at Vegito and look at his skills. What would happen is this would activate. You can get like a stat boost or something. All right, so combo success. I don't know what that is. That's used for challenge quests. Don't bother. Action done. This. I don't know. Don't bother with this. Oh. What's this? Items used? Okay. Items used. I can make it so something activates if items are used? Oh, item ID. Okay. Okay, I can do some funny stuff with this in the future. Don't worry. So you can make it so so if you use an item, you can make a certain line of script active, a certain line of code active. Okay, yeah. So you get the ID from battleitem.idb, guys, by the way. So if you wanted to make it so you got killed or something like that, for using an item, you could do that if you're like a demon once again. Really cool. Oh no. Don't bother. Don't bother. My Discord's going crazy. Don't mind it. Health damage over. What? Just use the health command, dude. Come on. Oh, what? Oh, raids. Okay, don't bother. Hey, Hero Coliseum. Pretty fun game mode. Just waste it. It's just too. Partner. This is used for food quests. You can do some funny stuff with this in parallel quest if you wanted. This will just check to see who your partner is. So maybe if you have Vegeta as your partner, like you'll get like you can have a certain line of code activate. Really cool. You can do some funny stuff with that. Takes a bit. Don't bother. Oh, okay. So if you play as your CAC, it'll activate. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so this will activate if you're your avatar. You can do some really cool stuff. I've actually learned a couple things myself. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the conditions. Not as long as the action list, but I just hope I explained what conditions were and how important they are to mission making. I wanted to obviously go over this because I went over the actions like 20 years ago. So we're going to go over the conditions. Hopefully you guys understood a lot of this these are so important to making missions. Hopefully you guys understood it. Maybe I'll go over like cutscenes eventually. I want to go over maybe dialogue. I don't know. Dialogue's confusing. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. If you made it to this point and watched this, I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Dude, okay, I'll just say this. Alright, I'll say this. I will say this. Look, items used. I'm doing something with this in the future. Mark it down, alright? I'll leave you on that little cliffhanger. A little cliffhanger. Freaking capsule. I'll just make it so you get killed instantly. I never said anything. I don't know what you're talking about. But that's pretty much it, everyone. If you made it to this point, I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you all in my next video.